Hi, I'm Diva from Musical Hell, and I know the score. The Oscars are once again upon us, and a great deal of the talk has been about Emilia Perez. Jacques Audiard's odd musical drama about a Mexican cartel boss who wants to transition to female and go straight, more or less in that order, has netted 13 nominations, including the first Best Actress nod for an openly transgender woman, top honors at the Golden Globes, and a metric butt-ton of backlash. Queer people decried the depiction of trans identity as something inherently deceptive and being adopted by a character with at best questionable motives. Mexican audiences universally panned the film for its misrepresentation of the country's culture, the dismissive attitude towards the effects of cartel violence, and some pretty shoddy Spanish, and Carla Sofia Gascon did herself no favors when a bunch of racist social media posts resurfaced. And those are all very valid points. But I want to address the problem in my particular wheelhouse, which is Emilia Perez just isn't good at being a musical. To illustrate, let's have a look at some key scenes, where they fail, and how better musical movies have worked in contrast. Like animation, musical is often misleadingly described as a genre. It's more accurate to call it a format, which can be adapted to a wide range of genres. Musicals can be funny or serious, lighthearted or dark, uplifting or unsettling. The only constant is that songs are employed to help tell the story. And in the case of Emilia Perez, the songs don't do that very effectively. Take, for example, the opening number for Zoe Saldana's character, Rita, a lawyer working to construct a convincing argument that her client is not culpable for his wife's death, even though he almost certainly is. The idea is that Rita is hardworking, eloquent, underappreciated by her boss, and morally conflicted about this task. Unfortunately, none of that is conveyed in the song itself.
Vengan todos, abran las puertas del tribunal de su conciencia. Oigan, respondan mi pregunta. ¿Podrían dar a mi cliente, el señor Gabriel Mendoza?
For comparison, let's look at another scene involving a lawyer spinning the truth on their client's behalf, the press conference rag in Chicago. Like Rita, Billy Flynn is playing on the sympathies of his audience to clear Roxy Hart of a murder charge. Unlike her, his means of doing so is much more clearly conveyed in the lyrics, setting her up as a virtuous girl led astray who acted in self-defense. His control of the situation is framed in the song as a ventriloquist act, with Billy literally putting words in Roxy's mouth, but Rob Marshall expands on this by turning the entire press conference into a puppet show, making Billy an expert manipulator of public opinion.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, they vote, oh yes, they vote, oh yes, they vote, each for the gun, the gun, the gun, the gun, oh yes, they vote, each for the gun, for the gun.
This is also a demonstration of a good use of the chorus, another area where Emilia Perez struggles. To be fair, many creators have had problems figuring out how to treat the ensemble in a musical, a group that, depending on the situation, functions as minor characters filling out the setting, a Greek chorus, a symbolic entity, or just some good backup singers. They tend to be the most stylized part of the musical, and the one people always seem to have the most trouble suspending their belief on. But good musicals manage to use the ensemble effectively, or even a not-so-good musical like La La Land. The opening number, Another Day of Sun, demonstrates a good way to film an ensemble scene. Notice how, while the camera is always in motion, it shifts between focusing on individuals, small groups, and wide shots. You get a sense that even though none of these characters have names or will appear beyond the first 5 minutes of the movie, they have identity and personality. It establishes the film's central premise of Los Angeles as a place for dreamers to pursue the promptings of their soul. Emilia Perez does not know how to use a chorus. In Rita's opening number, they're crammed into the frame behind her, echoing her, but to no genuine purpose. Later, Jessie, the wife left behind by Emilia when she transitions, expresses resentment about her situation in an angry number that calls up some backup dancers because they represent her inner turmoil. Audiard thought they looked good. Who knows?
Yo cuidé a los niños. Basta!
Perhaps the most infamous song in Emilia Perez is La Vaginoplastia, in which Rita travels abroad to find a discreet provider for Emilia's surgeries. Again, many of the established criticisms are valid. The lyrics are atrocious, and the whole number presents gender-affirming care as something grotesque and unnatural. But beyond that, it's a terrible use of setting. Once again, there's lots of chaos and movement, but little sense and direction. And while a series of superimposed city names seems to indicate that Rita's quest has taken her to several locations, the entire scene takes place in one room with the same characters. Even if the space and cast were limited, as they are in a stage musical, there are creative ways to suggest transitions of time, place, and character. Come From Away, for example, has a cast of 12 on a single set who encompass multitudes across thousands of miles. But if you want to see how a good film director uses setting in a musical, look no further than John M. Chu. In both In the Heights and Wicked, Chu makes good use of the space around the characters and uses it to enhance the songs. Notice how the climactic verse of "What is this feeling" cuts through different locations to show Elphaba and Galinda's rivalry developing over time, how the way the chorus interacts with the main characters emphasizes the former's alienation and the latter's popularity, and the way the staging draws focus to the chemistry between the leads. Will Emilia Perez cash in at the Oscars? It's hard to say. The Academy Awards are less about which films are the best or most enduring, but an odd mix of politics, studio campaigning, and vibes. If it does, though, it may very well go down along with Crash and The Greatest Show on Earth as one of the biggest missteps in the awards history. I'm Diva, I know the score, and now, so do you.